Hey, what's up? Nick Fenton here, and today I'm coming to you with my very first cryptocurrency video. I've been basically researching this entire ecosystem for 2.5, 3 months now. I'm a professional options trader as my primary source of income, so I'm very interested in financial markets, and this is a very interesting market to say the least. Very mind-opening stuff with regard to blockchain and Tangle technology. And some pretty cool concepts going on here in the cryptocurrency ecosystem. Also some garbage. It's no secret there's some trash out there, but there's some gems. There's some definite gems. Bitcoin I think is amazing. Ethereum. There's a good list of gems. But today I wanted to discuss my overall personal core objective with cryptocurrency trading. So my core objective is to basically build my Bitcoin position. Bitcoin is my primary focus. I would say Ethereum would be my secondary focus. Bitcoin, my primary focus. All the other coins are just vehicles to get more Bitcoin or Ethereum. Primarily Bitcoin. So what I mean by that is I look at the overall markets in these different coins versus the Bitcoin. I shouldn't say the Bitcoin. That makes me sound like a noob, doesn't it? Versus the Bitcoin. Versus Bitcoin. And I essentially see which one is showing its relative strength. So is Bitcoin relatively strong to this coin? Or is this coin relatively strong to Bitcoin? If Bitcoin's relatively strong, I want to be in Bitcoin. If this coin, the other coin, is relatively strong, I think maybe I should allocate some funds towards that other coin. Right now, full disclosure, it's October 24th, 2017, I'm 100% Bitcoin, and the reason for that is it was showing relative strength against everything else prior to today. Today is the day after the hard fork, or the day of the Bitcoin Gold hard fork. I think it took place maybe 10 hours ago. And we saw a lot of people positioning into Bitcoin going into this Bitcoin Gold hard fork, therefore causing it to move relatively strong versus the other coins. Now that the fork is complete and people have basically secured their free Bitcoin Gold coins, they are moving back away from Bitcoin into the other coins. You like my hand motions, right? Okay, so let's just keep it simple here. We're looking at tradingview.com/chart, which is a very good tool, I think. I like Poloniex as well, but it's very limited as to what you can do. But it's really nice from a ease of use. So anyway, back to TradingView. Like, you can draw on these charts, which, as somebody that has utilized technical analysis for many, many years, I do like to draw on charts. And by no means am I an end-all, be-all technical analysis guy. I prefer implied volatility analysis, but we don't have that in crypto markets yet. So let's stick with technical analysis to guide the way, give us a little vision here. We're looking at a 6-month chart of Bitcoin versus the US dollar. Pretty simple to see that there's a nice little uptrend going on here. And essentially, you can accelerate it a little bit right there. You can delete that uptrend and just start it from back in July. Oops, let me grab my tool again. And you can see, let's just say it's very clear that there's an uptrend going on here. It's a very simple price pattern, not difficult to see that we've got an uptrend telling us that Bitcoin is relatively strong to US dollar for now. So for now, I would rather be in Bitcoin versus US dollar. All right, so we've got that determined. Let's take a look at Ethereum versus Bitcoin. So first we looked at Bitcoin versus the US dollar. Any other coin we look at, I like to look at it versus Bitcoin, not versus the US dollar. Bitcoin is my gold standard. Bitcoin is my US dollar for the coin market, whereas US dollar is my US dollar for stocks and options. So Bitcoin is the US dollar of the cryptocurrency market, in my mind. That's the way I like to look at it. So Ethereum versus Bitcoin. Very easy to see what happened there? Very easy to see a defined downtrend going on here, right? Simple. So Ethereum is relatively weak to Bitcoin. If we zoom in a little bit here, 3-month chart, you can see today we've got a nice move from around the 4/8 area, 0.048 to up here in the 0.053. So from the 4/8 to the 5/3 area, that's a pretty significant move. And that's people positioning out of Bitcoin into Ethereum now that the Bitcoin fork has taken place. I believe. You never know for sure. I believe that's why. I think it seems pretty logical, fairly obvious. If we look at another instance here, IOTA, which is a Tangle-based, it's a currency that's associated with Tangle technology versus Blockcoin technology. It's actually a really interesting coin. You should read about it. Machine-to-machine transactions only. It's mind-opening stuff. Very futuristic, very fun. I mean, I can see the stuff happening in my head. We're probably 10 years down the road, but it doesn't mean you shouldn't position or utilize this coin for trading because there is liquidity in this coin. You can see here it is relatively weak. Come on, TradingView. It's relatively weak to Bitcoin. Again, we have a very simple downtrend intact. We're not doing any sort of sophisticated analysis here. We're just seeing relative weakness versus relative strength. So over the past few months, we're seeing relative weakness in IOTA versus Bitcoin. Let's take a look at Litecoin. Same thing, downtrend. I don't think I need to draw it for you. Downtrend, but we are starting to see a little strength today, just like we noted in Ethereum. And lastly, we'll look at Monero. Monero, a very, very clear, defined downtrend channel, really, versus Bitcoin. So Bitcoin is relatively strong, which is why I'm 100% Bitcoin right now. As of right now, I am thinking I need to shift into some Ethereum, maybe some Litecoin, maybe some Monero. Let's take a look at Neo here. Yeah, maybe some Neo. And IOTA is showing some signs of life here too. So they're all showing some signs of life. It's looking pretty interesting. So next question. When I decide that it's time to convert some Bitcoin into, let's say, Ethereum, how do I go about doing that? Well, there's two ways. One, you already have your money in an exchange like Poloniex that supports Ethereum, or GDAX that supports Ethereum, and you do the exchange there. I don't keep my money in exchanges. So let's take a look at GDAX here. You can see my USD balance is 0. My Bitcoin balance is 0. That's because everything is in a local wallet. And the local wallet that I use is Exodus. I like Exodus. I also use Electrum. So I have them split up into Electrum and Exodus, but I have more in Exodus because it has this really great built-in exchange feature. Uses this software called Shapeshift that you can read about on shapeshift.io, and essentially it just allows you to exchange within the wallet, and there's no extra added fee versus what you would pay if you did it directly on Shapeshift. They charge the exact same amount of money. I believe Exodus does get a small cut. That's fine with me. I'm happy supporting these guys. They built a really cool interface, what seems to be a secure wallet, and it has this exchange functionality built into the wallet. So if I wanted to exchange some my Bitcoin that I'm holding in my Exodus wallet for Ethereum, I would simply go into my Exodus wallet, pull up Bitcoin, say I want to exchange Bitcoin for Ethereum, click the exchange button. It does it all. It sends it over to Shapeshift for 30 to 90 seconds. So it does go away from your wallet onto a centralized exchange area for a very short period of time. But then it comes right back to your wallet, and you don't have to pay any of these transfer fees. It's really cool. I really like Exodus. And furthermore, the supported assets list is huge. We support Bitcoin, Litecoin, Ethereum, Dash, Golem, and then a bunch of other ones. I do like EOS, but most of these I don't. I've never utilized, except this basic attention token. and Salt. So yeah, I guess I have kind of played around with a lot of these. I've never messed with Civic, Quantum, Gnosis, Aragon, whatever. There's a lot to learn in this cryptocurrency world, and there's some very interesting stuff. There's some trash, like I said. So I try to really slowly learn and absorb as much as I can about each of these things before I play in that sandbox. And it also shows the future development here. So there's tons of coins in beta already. There's tons that are planned. I wish IOTA was planned, but it's not planned. And it's solid. It's a very solid wallet. So I utilize the exchange feature within the Exodus wallet for coins that are supported by that wallet. If they aren't supported, over here in GDAX, you're pretty limited to what you can do. You can only utilize Bitcoin, Litecoin, or Ethereum in GDAX. Poloniex is my, backup, and Poloniex supports tons of coins. It's amazing. Poloniex is really strong. I really like Bitfinex too, but they are freezing all U.S. accounts, so they're out of the picture. They also were hacked for 30% of their assets and haven't refunded customers, so they're out of the picture for that as well. They do have a cool interface, though. I'll give them that. Very cool interface. So Poloniex is pretty solid, and this is what I use if I'm going for some altcoins that are a bit more exotic and aren't supported within the Exodus wallet for exchange purposes and aren't within the limited realm of support in GDAX. Poloniex is my next move. I do prefer, staying, if I'm doing Ethereum or Litecoin or Bitcoin related transactions, I stay within GDAX. Reason being, assuming that it's not already in the wallet. I know this is getting confusing. So let's say I add I want to convert US dollars into Bitcoin or Ethereum or Litecoin. I will withdraw it, transfer it from my bank to GDAX. Then, once it's in GDAX, it takes about 4 business days. I will buy it with a limit order. The reason I do this is because there is a fee schedule here. A maker fee is 0%, no matter what your quantity is. 0%. Taker fee, as you can see, starts at 0.25% down to 0.1%. So what does that mean? Maker fee means you're doing a limit order below the market, so you're essentially making the market. Taker fee means you're doing a market order, meaning that you want your order to fill immediately, and that's that. So you're going to pay a little bit of a premium to get an order filled immediately. You're going to be rewarded for putting your order under the market and requiring the market to come to you, which is how I trade anyway. So I'm always going to do a limit order. It's going to save me money. Beautiful thing. Once I fill my orders from here, the money comes in from my bank account to GDAX. I get my Bitcoin or my Ethereum or whatever, send it over to my Exodus or Electra wallet, depending on where my mind is and where the markets are. What the markets are telling me from a relative strength perspective. That's kind of it. Comparatively, Poloniex, you can see we've got a maker fee of 0.15%. If you're doing less than 600 Bitcoins, 0.25%. So the taker fee is pretty much the same, but I'm only interested in paying attention to the maker fee, and I'm not doing transactions that are 24,000 Bitcoin or more. It's just not happening yet. One last thing I did want to touch on. I like this area. So here we're looking at coin market cap, and if you go to tools, global charts, it's going to default here to all. I like to change it to year to date just to get a little more zoomed in view. This is just astounding to me. So back in May, we were at roughly a 40 billion market cap. Today we're at 170 billion, right? That is insane. There's got to be some fluff in here, or people are just catching on to this blockchain technology, and there's some real, this could be some real momentum. I think there is some fluff in here, though, but I'm not going to trade based on that. I'm going to trade based on the trends. So if we look at the peak market cap here is about 180 billion. We've been knocking on that 180 billion door for the past month or so, and past 2 weeks. I think if we break through 175 billion, we run to 200 billion pretty quick. And that'd be pretty interesting. This next chart down here is total market cap excluding Bitcoin. So, we're currently at 70 billion versus 170 billion. Bitcoin is about $100 billion market cap. That's pretty amazing. But just think, it could go to about 2-3 trillion if it's really highly adopted. So where it seems expensive now, it could actually in the long term be fairly cheap, which is why I'm taking these actions to grow my Bitcoin amount. And lastly, I like to look at this percentage of total market cap. You can see this is just a cool observation more than anything. We had a nice convergence between Bitcoin and Ethereum. So Bitcoin is orange, Ethereum is that dark purple. And then all of a sudden, Bitcoin just decided to start flexing on everybody and just ran off with the money. And we have a major divergence back in place here. Ethereum is definitely very interesting. I think it could make a move and close this gap back up. I don't know if they'll ever fully converge or anything, but we'll see. So in closing, this is a very interesting market. There is plenty of liquidity. I've noticed that since it's a young market, there, of course, is a lot of volatility, which, whatever, it's okay. But more importantly, technical analysis is driving this market more than anything I've seen in a while. And I think it's because the market is kind of self-fulfilling the technical analysis prophecy. Basically, we have so many machines and humans looking at this market from a technical perspective that they're causing these technical factors to work. And hey, there's nothing wrong with that. So as long as that observation is intact, I'm going to trade it very technically because I really don't know any other way to trade it. I'm not a programmer. I don't know the ins and outs of some of this stuff, although I have dove in to a couple of them on GitHub. And I'm learning fast. But for now, I'm letting the markets tell me what to do. I'm letting the technicals guide me. And I'm not making any decisions based on my opinion. I'm just straight up letting the market tell me exactly what I should be doing. I'm not thinking twice before I act. I'm just acting. And I think that's very important. Keep your emotions out. Don't watch the market too much as far as like, oh, I had this much money in my account 5 minutes ago. Let me go see how much I got in my account now. I know it's tempting when the markets are this volatile. I mean, you could. It's easy to do, but that gets you into a mental state where you start making bad decisions, and it's just not healthy. So, check the markets a couple times a day, once a day. Let the markets tell you what's relatively strong, what's relatively weak. If you're seeing enough convincing evidence to alter your allocations, do it. Don't think twice. Just do it. I'm not giving you advice here. I'm just telling you how I'm talking to myself, basically, is what's going on. That's how I'm moving here. And hopefully that had some sort of insight. And, I'd love to hear how you're playing this market too. So feel free to leave a comment and we can get a little conversation going. Take care. I'll be back soon.